The Acolyte show is nearly over, thank goodness, and the majority of fans are united in agreement that the show is absolute trash, and yet Leslye Headland continues to parade herself out there in interviews and in videos, trying to do everything she can to play damage control in sheer desperation because she knows that this show has been absolutely destroyed by fans. It sits currently at 14% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, which is absolutely abysmal, and yet Leslye Headland is doing everything she can to try to backpedal, trying to defend the show, trying to show you that you are wrong. And today she decided to say some of the dumbest stuff that she has said yet. According to the Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland, the series' less than shining portrayal of the Jedi Order is not aiming to criticize George Lucas's original take on the collective group of light side adherents, but rather to get audiences to look at their existence from a different point of view. Which is hilarious because this is what people do all the time when it comes to these leftists and these wokesters. They never outright say that they're trying to destroy Star Wars. They always disguise it with things like, oh, we're just trying to give you guys a new perspective on it. And it's absolute BS because we know what they're doing, and yet they think that we are complete idiots and we do not see what they are doing, but they are very wrong in that. So Headland offered this defense of the Star Wars series' morally gray narrative. I don't think I've ever seen anything this uncomfortable coming from Disney just as a whole in a very long time. This whole episode was just cringe. It was insane. A lot of people are calling it like the 50 Shades of Jedi, and that's exactly what it is. So in light of the episode's heavy focus on Khmer's anti-Jedi philosophies, the Jedi teach there's only one way to access the Force, and if you don't do it their way, it fades. But there is another way. Below the surface of consciousness are powerful emotions: anger, fear, loss, desire. And of course, we've seen Leslye Headland do other things like introduce the thread into the show as well, and show that these lesbian space witches basically have a deeper connection with the Force than the Jedi ever have. It's just ridiculous, man. And all they're just trying to do is undermine everything that George Lucas has done to create the story and the lore of Star Wars. And it's absolutely pathetic. I hope it's making people look at it from a different point of view. I can understand that fans, especially people who don't know the High Republic, may feel like I'm criticizing the Jedi as they exist in George Lucas's oeuvre, meaning the prequels in episodes 5 through 6, but that's not the case. We're so much further back than that. We're in that era that Obi-Wan is talking about in A New Hope. We're in that period where the proliferation of power is so huge and far-reaching. Actually, in the next episode, you're going to see how far-flung particular missions from Jedi are and the lack of oversight. What she is admitting is that they're trying to portray that the Jedi used to be bad guys, okay? And then they got woke. And now we see them in the prequel trilogy, and they are the good Jedi that we have come to know. But before that, they were very, very bad guys. Comparing these Jedi to the Jedi in the prequels is a little bit difficult because it's 100-ish years before those films. It's a century. Wow, she knows how long a century is. It's 100 years. Good job, Leslye Headland. Thank you for explaining that to all of us dumb fans out there. So you see, Vernestra's like, we cannot let this happen. She gets more and more concerned about that at the end of the season, and rightfully so, because she, as a very powerful Jedi Master, can sort of see what's on the horizon. Whereas when we meet the Jedi in the prequels, they completely enmeshed at that point. She is trying to create her own narrative for the Jedi at this point, and we can see that. We can see that throughout the entire show. And of course, they're going to disguise it under the guise of, hey, we're just trying to introduce a new perspective, guys. We just want you to look at things differently. Nothing could be further from the truth. Headland ultimately affirmed, so in my opinion and in my experience and just all of my sage wisdom as a Star Wars fan, and what I was interested in digging into is, it seems like it's a time where you can break down the Jedi as a concept, whereas I wouldn't want to touch what has been established of them a century later, except you actually are. It is directly impacting everything that is supposed to come after, with Anakin Skywalker, with the Force, with the Jedi, and all of that stuff. You can say, oh, I don't want to touch any of that stuff, but really, you actually are. So let me know what you think about what Leslye Headland says here. It's absolutely just complete insanity, but this shows you just how ridiculous these people at Lucasfilm are that are currently in charge of Star Wars, and it is pathetic. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.